So I'm not particularly interested in making this a history lesson, but I think a little bit of context matters. You see, Savannah, which is a major port city, actually lies several miles inland from the Atlantic down the Savannah River. So Fort Pulaski, which was considered significantly impenetrable at the time, was built at the mouth of the river to protect the flow of goods in and out of Savannah. Leading up to the Civil War, Savannah, as well as Fort Pulaski, fell into Confederate hands, now making Savannah an extremely important port for the Confederate Army. So in 1862, Union soldiers arrived with a new type of cannon which used rifle rounds, which are more similar to a modern-day bullet than the bowling ball-style cannonballs of the time. These cannons were not only more accurate, but it had incredible range. So Union soldiers sat outside of Fort Pulaski's range and pummeled the walls with over 5,000 rounds. This attack collapsed part of the outside walls, which caused the Confederate Army to surrender only 30 hours after the attack started. The significance here was not only was this a successful proof of concept for a new war-changing standard of weaponry, but it also cut off supplies through Savannah to the Confederate Army, which proved devastating as they would later lose the war. So now this would be the inside of the fort. It's actually pretty big. It was used not only as a fort, but at multiple different points before and during the war. It was used as a prison as well. This would have been the prison yard. There's a famous story about what they called the Immortal 600. There were 600 prisoners of war, Confederate soldiers that were captured by the Union, and they held them all here for 42 days as they were moving them around.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the faithful lightning of his hand.
So you can see here, these windows are designed specifically so the cannons could move from side to side. You just imagine firing one of those things inside of here. The sound.
Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah.
I'm gonna walk up to the top now. Go where the gunners would have been. So let's take the same steps they did. Just imagine being up here, firing these cannons going off every other second. Boom, boom, boom. And seeing over there, Tybee Island, where those white buildings are in the distance, that's where the Union soldiers were firing back. And you could just hear and see them coming down from the sky. Cannonballs landing here. And all you're doing is standing here firing back, not knowing where the next one was going to land and just hoping it didn't hit you. Pretty crazy. This fort was constructed by somewhere around 25 million bricks, and the bricks were all made by hand by slaves. And none of those men and women will ever be remembered. Their names are gone. But if you look closely on the bricks, what you can see is handprints where they would put them into or pull them out of the mold as they were making them. And these handprints are all over 25 million bricks throughout this entire place. And another cool thing over here, there's the magazine where they stored all the black powder, basically explosives. And later they used this room. Instead of being storage, they used this to lock prisoners when they were bad. So, can you imagine being stuck in here? It's cold. No windows, nothing. They actually still have, I don't know if this is original or not, but you can see here, metal door, bars. That would suck. Because this place was so hard to get into, it was actually really hard to get out of. So a lot of these halls here were converted into basically a prison camp. And I don't know, what would have been worse? Being a prisoner here or being under these walls and hearing cannonballs hit it? I'm not sure. I don't know what would be worse. This is a list of the names of 600 different people that were all here at the same time as prisoners. When they first arrived, they had nothing more than this. When they first arrived here, the fort was completely unprepared for the amount of people and for the time that they arrived. So they basically were just stuck inside rooms like this, and the beds and the bars and everything that you see now, the prisoners themselves actually constructed everything while they were here. You turn on your water in your sink, take a shower, you don't really think about where the water comes from. And it's so safe these days, you never think about these problems. But this fort was built on the Atlantic Ocean, so all the water surrounding it was salt water. So they couldn't drink it, they couldn't use any of it. So what they did is they created these giant containers of bricks. There's 10 of these. And what they would do is as it would rain, the rain would soak into the ground and come in through they created a filtration system with shells and oysters, and it would filter into here. And then if you needed water, if you needed to drink, or you needed to cook, or you needed to bathe, you'd stick a bucket in that hole and pull some out. I came in here kind of thinking that I might have the opportunity to explain what happened here, or explain why this place is important, but the more I walk around, I don't think I can do that. It's not because I don't know the story or because of the history or anything like that, but what is it like to have hundreds of guys in here, young, I mean back then soldiers were teenagers, stuck in here in the cold, away from home. Confederate soldiers would have known what they were doing. I mean, they were succeeding from the country that they were a part of. They were fighting to take over something that already existed, and I don't know. Some of the people here must have really, really believed in that. I don't know, maybe for others it was a job. You don't know, What's it like? Were they scared? Were they brave? I mean, it's always an interesting question when it comes to war. But standing in here, I don't know, it's very strange. I couldn't imagine being here for that long.